usual time.
Woohoo!
Hello, hello.
We're here.
Here we are.
Working on getting adjusted here. I'm in a different location, sitting on the sofa. Got 3 books, have my little laptop tray. So hopefully nothing falls apart. Oh, I found us.
I'm finding us too. We are here at a new time this week because, life happens. It's so quirky, but life happens and we couldn't make Friday work. So here we are on Wednesday, hump day, whatever you want to call it. I prefer to call it Saturday,
Hump day doesn't exist anymore.
I know, but
Isn't
typically
it great? There is no hump day.
Wednesday was always, oh my gosh, thank God I'm halfway there.
I know it. It's so different. I was talking to somebody the other day of like, if heaven help you, if you end up going to the emergency room and they ask you what day it is, because I don't know and I don't care. So, but anyway, let's do a quick intro. So I'm Dr. Brenda. I am a sociologist, a speaker, a financial coach, a full-time RVer, traveling the country with my kitty cats. Oh, wow. I am in the Minnesota Northwoods, and I'm going to tell you what, I could chat for 3 hours on my experiences from the last 3 days, but I won't. Janine, take it over.
Well, hang on. You carry on because I just want to share it out to my group. Make sure Alpha Game is coming there live.
Okay. Yeah, are you good?
I think so. I think
that was fast.
I know. We're getting quicker. So here we be. And I'm excited to talk to you after because life happens, as we know. So I'm Janine McJanet. I am a soul empowerment coach, a therapist in RTT, rapid transformational therapy, and hypnotherapist. And I like to help women break the cycle of dysfunction, people pleasing, and all of the tentacles that fall from it. So here we lie on this past hump day, which is Wednesday. It's still the middle of the week, kind of that 5-day week window. Oh, W is going to come up soon. And here we are with the letter Q coming to you so that we could play with a conversation, have a quirky conversations.
Oh, that wasn't on my list. So can I start?
You may start. Why don't you start, Dr. Brenda? And I'm glad, where are you, first of all? Because you're always somewhere different.
Yeah, I am. This has been a really interesting stop. I'm in Ely, Minnesota, which is on the border of the Boundary Waters. So I'm getting a lesson in how the local population, some pro, some against, set up the boundary waters where there's no motor craft and it's just wild wilderness. And there's so few parts in the country, I think in the world now, where you really have that quiet. There's the Q word of wilderness, just the sanctity of it all. But oh yeah, I can talk for a long time today. So I'm gonna get derailed, but
I'm gonna pull you back then. Let's go for Q.
So I'm in the Northwoods, lots of pine trees, squirrels, loons. Do you have loons?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the
Aren't
music.
Beautiful creatures. And little quirky there, little but you have loons, and this morning, this is a sign. Typically in the springtime, all the swans come and it's just this, whoa, summer's here. Let's start living and let's start playing. And so this morning in my early jaunt out to the lake, I saw a swan. One swan. Is that good? Is it bad? Does it mean they're starting to head south because there's a chill in the air already? Possibly.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. I got 3 books. Things are sliding a bit, but
so you're good, you're grounded, you're free. Let's go with Q. And I don't know if you have anything quirky to share with us that might start this wild conversation. You brought up quiet, and And that's always a beautiful thing when we think about nature and even inside of our mind, just how do we quieten down all the busyness, everything external and everything internal. And it sounds
Well,
like you're boundary waters. I mean, I'm just so curious about boundary waters and
oh
boundary.
God, what? Okay. Now I have to Google this because the boundary waters of Minnesota border
Ontario.
Canadian similar wild wilderness, and I think it starts with the letter Q.
Quebec.
No, 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 no. I gotta see what it is.
Well, she looks up. We're gonna just quibble on about different things here. And yeah, just the
Quetico,
Quetico.
Quetico, Quetico Superior Country. Here it's the Superior. I'm in the Superior National Forest,
Superior.
and up there it's Quetico. How about that? Well, what timing? What? How fortuitous is that? That's quirky, isn't it?
That's good. That's good. You're stepping into your queendom right there.
Oh, quiet,
Oh,
quiet,
come on.
you.
Come on. I don't want to quarrel in public, honestly.
No quizzes, no quarrels.
Oh, it's all good. But quiet moments, it makes us question life, those quiet moments, right? It makes us sort of step into this reflective stage. And in summertime in North America here, there's a lot of reflection that we see in nature, especially in the last few days. Man, we've had thunderstorms and lightning storms and torrential rains. And
Did you have
then
one last night?
last night,
I got drenched. We had a thunderstorm blow in. I wasn't expecting it. My hammock was out there. My cat furniture was out there. I went out in my pajamas and hauled that stuff back in, and I was drenched.
and did you like it? Like, did it feel good, or were you like you questioning the whole, Mother Nature thing?
Well, if I don't do it, then I'm lying awake worrying about it and wishing I had brought it in. So why not just bring it in, dump the wet pajamas and go back to bed?
Yeah. Hey, I've got a question for you. What is one of your favorite quotes that you stand by?
Are you kidding me?
What's
I
wrong?
ask you that question. It's
You
Are you
first.
kidding me? Okay. I had that on my list for you. So
Good.
one of my favorite quotes is, it's on the bottom of my email signature. It's Mary Oliver. So tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And what really strikes me are wild and precious, doesn't say, what is it you plan to do with your one dull and routine life? She says wild and precious. And that really resonates with me. Just a reminder that we only get one go around. Well, probably get one go around.
As who we are now.
Yeah. And to make the experience wild and precious. And you? What about you?
Well, I like that. I just want to just ponder on that for a bit, because there's so much wisdom out there, right? So many cool quotes. We create quotes in ourselves. Like, I love creating quotes. Like, quotes are fun. They're fun to play with. They're not always positive, but we always try to put that spin in it. There's just inject it with a piece of wisdom. So thank you for sharing that one. Mine goes back to reading a book called Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins. When I finished high school and I was traveling around Europe in my, late 19th, when I was 19 years old, late 19th. And I had so much stuff with me in my backpack. It was so heavy that when I was reading books, I was ripping a page out at a time after I'd read it. But this book, and I'm going to share it with you because this has really, I get the goosies. I've read it and performed it at, friends' weddings, and it means a lot. Here it is from Tom Robbins. Our individuality is all that we have. There are those who barter it for security, those who repress it for what they believe is the betterment of the whole society. But blessed in the twinkle of the morning star is the one who nurtures it and rides it in grace and love and wit from peculiar station to peculiar station along life's bitter sweet route. And that's a quote from Tom Robbins' Jitterbug Perfume. And at a time when I was just starting to find myself and be myself, focusing in, come closer like that. That really said a lot to me. It's just like, your individuality is all that we have. And so many people, and especially kids, try to compare and be like others instead of letting themselves be. So that's sort of been a part of me for my whole life. And I'm in my 50s now, just going, yeah, it couldn't be more true. Just to let go all of these preconceptions of what we should be and just be who we are.
Yeah, I wish I had been so aware when I was 19, but I wasn't. I didn't read. I mean, I read some, but I didn't read nearly as much as I have later in life. But I didn't really have a guide stone when I was younger. I mean, it's only been probably within the last 10, 15 years where I've really started to embrace a philosophy, a message for how I want to live. Actually, I think about the last 3, 4 years of my life as being totally instrumental to me being an individual and identifying myself as myself rather than as a sociologist. Well, we do our intros, right? You're we're a rapid transformation therapist.
Label.
Right. But once when my career ended, I no longer had that identity and I had to recreate it.
Yeah.
And we're always recreating ourselves. We should be.
Yeah.
Because we're collecting wisdom.
Every moment of every day is an opportunity to do that, right?
Yeah. So can I introduce you to something?
You may, indeed.
Okay, so I started with quiet, and this is the book that I've got. It's called Listening Point. And I just learned about Sig Olson. He's a local environmentalist, passed away in 1982, and I was actually at a dedication ceremony for a plaque that his home is on the National Historical Site. And so I began to learn more and more about him. And it turns out I have a cousin here, a cousin I did not meet until last year. How do I get through almost 60 years of life and not meet this cousin until I'm 58, 59? Oh, well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have this cousin here, and she took me to what is called Listening Point. And I took one of my 1-minute videos of it. But can I read something? Okay.
Yes, because that's a quote, and it is in the name of kind of a quest for knowledge.
Right. So he's got this point that juts out into the lake. And it's beautiful. He said, I named this place Listening Point because only when one comes to listen, only when one is aware and still, can things be seen and heard. Everyone has a listening point somewhere. It does not have to be in the north or close to the wilderness, but some place of quiet where the universe can be contemplated with awe. And that just has really inspired me. I think of all the journeys I've been on, different landscapes, but the thing that pulls it all together is that sense of awe and that listening point where it is me and the loons, the mosquitoes, the wind, the sound of the water lapping against the shore. That is home to me. That is necessary. If you take that away from me, I can't survive. But
Rip our
the-
hearts out, right?
yeah, but the idea that everybody does have a listening point, and if you don't, go discover one, someplace for you to just sit in the quiet without the distractions of society.
Mhm. And is it really someplace like externally? I'm just going to question that because it's to me, it's like the quest for inner peace and where you can be closest to it. And for us and for so like for everyone, nature is such an important part of us because it takes us out of the busyness of our immediate life and places us in this big world where we feel smaller, where we look at the what's really important, you know. So that quest for inner peace. And I like the listening point because if we have somewhere to go to that it's habit, it's a habit. If we go to the same place every day for 10 days and we sit there and we listen and we feel good, we're going to yearn for that because it's fed our soul kind of thing. So what is that place? And if you're moving all the time, that's the beautiful thing because you're questing for adventure. Your quest for adventure is just everywhere. And I do it, but I do it in a different way. I do it in the same place and I walk through and I may walk the same trail over and over and I always see something different, feel something different, hear something different, like all of that sensory exploration. Because it's so much bigger than us, to get out of our minds, to get out of our heads.
Yeah, I think the key is to turn the TV off, turn social media off. And
Yes.
even if it's a place, create a little altar in your house, a little place of refuge where there's, I mean, there are all kinds of books on how to do this. Part of it is decluttering, get rid of all the stuff around you, have some symbolic thing, shut the door, make sure everybody knows that this is me time. Don't turn that TV on. So, you can, but I don't feel there's anything comparable for me other than going out watching the sun dip.
Yep.
Under the mountains, the sun dip by the lakes, here I'm surrounded by the smell of pines. It's the smells, the sights and the sounds that become part of one. And I feel part of the universe. I'm not
Again.
fighting it.
Yeah.
I'm part of it. And I don't feel that
It's
inside.
humbling. It's humbling. That's why, like stepping outdoors, regardless of the temperature, we become something much bigger. We become part of something much bigger in our four walls, in our families, in our workspaces and whatnot. There's always some sort of shit that goes on, right? There's always, and our mind is busy. We got to do this, we got to do this, and this is happening and feel like a robot. But as soon as you can step outside, quieten down. And honestly, we got to like meet in person and watch a sunset. I think it would be the best thing because I'm the sunset girl as well. I mean, you are. When I grew up in Sydney, we lived in Darling Point, which is this kind of nice area in Sydney, overlooking the city, overlooking the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House. So we came from backwood Canada country into the city where it was just like lights and buildings. And I kind of get goosey bumpy because every night the sun would set, I would be out there just staring at it. And my mom would come out. I mean, there were little pockets of parks that I would look to and go to, but they weren't always safe, right? So I would just focus in on the sunset every single night. And my mom would always know that I'd be out there, Janine. And if I wasn't, she'd call me out and I'd just sit and just watch it because that's like, wow. And it's a passion. Like we're talking quests, really. What are you passionate about every day that you want to experience physiologically?
Yeah, and I mean, in this book too, he talks about being out on the lake on the witching hour, and it's usually around dusk, and the shadows play out. You've got the trees, and the trees are reflecting There's a
Magic.
sense of quiet. It's a very magical time. And so when you do spend time in nature, I mean, that time right before sunrise, that time right before sunset, things get a little calmer and the lighting is very different, you know?
Oh,
So,
it's
oh,
amazing. Now, do you say that? And last night we're having dinner and I said, guys, it's magic hour. And everyone looks out the window and the trees glow, the orange and the reds from the sun coming down. So the witching hour, the magic hour, it's a time where, you know, it's obviously it's the best for photographs, any photographs, because it injects life into the trees, into the freaking rocks and the water, everything, the mountains. Yeah. So
um,
it's all about questioning life and just getting out there and being in it, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, I think the answers are out there. I know that there are times when I just feel bombarded with things and my head is swimming and I'll go out, take, you know, turn everything off, go outside. I went paddling the other day on in a canoe. You know,
Mhm.
it's like I'm used to kayaking, so I'm probably still a little sore, but I went canoeing and I mean, we've had some smoky days from the Canadian fires, but that was a crystal blue day. And my cousin, I mean, there were 9 of us out in the water. They had kayaks and we were in the canoe and doesn't get any better.
Doesn't
Doesn't get any better.
it doesn't. Wow. Okay. That's so good. Like we could, like, it's just so like, well, I want to ask the audience, like, what brings you peace? What brings you this sense of inner peace? And are you getting it regularly? Because the people that I speak to, the women that I work with, there's such a loud voice in the head that stops them from being at peace with themselves, me included sometimes. It's just like so much going on. How can we just grab that space, even if we don't exit a building, if we're in a structure, and quieten down our own mind so that we can experience a good quality of life, regardless of what's going on, all the quibbles around us.
Yeah, and to add to that, the question is, what do you question yourself about? Like, you know, I occasionally like, what am I doing this for? I don't, you know, I got to start all over. I want to quit sometimes,
Mhm.
but you know, you question your own competence, you question your own expertise, you question your own responsibilities, accountability, talent, skills, and you know, deep down inside, I think we know that they're there, but it, you know, it's like we question ourselves,
Yeah.
not in a way that is beneficial.
Mhm. Which is why we have to lift our sorry asses up into our queendom and stand up for what we want. I know it's just like, oh, here she goes again with all that positive psychology stuff, but it's true. It's like when we question our lives, how long do we stay in that valley
Yeah.
compared to, you know, climbing
Yeah.
the mountain, literally and physically, you know?
Well, you know, I mean, I have not been in a real good spot this summer. It's been a little more difficult for me. I have not been positive like I usually am. I feel short with people. And it's not like there's, you know, a pill that I can take and suddenly like that I'm back to my old positive self. So um you know, I think the other part of that is we have to accept and recognize that maybe we're not in such a good place and question, you know, well, what is it that's bugging me and how can I change it? And maybe it takes a while to make that change.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, this time in Ely, looking at what goes on in the community, it is the community that I have been missing.
Mhm.
Um, as a full-time RVer, you can create an online community, but it's not the same. And I see people here really making a difference in the community and other people's lives. And so for me, it has verified that I have made a good decision of becoming part of a community, which I will do in October. Because I'm not going to be able to do that the way I want to by moving around every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think that's been part of the loose nugget for me, community.
Well, you're listening to yourself, right? You're listening to the parts
Yeah.
of you, because sometimes there's the conflict and there's a challenge because you want to do this and you want to do that. And now that's the, the power of our mind is what we do, what we tell ourselves we're going to do. So if there's any kind of controversy, if you're saying, oh, I really want to do this, I love what I'm doing, but then there's this thing, we get confused. So I see for, the last year or so that we've been, or so 2 years that we've been connected, it's like this is what you want to do, but there's still a yearning. So how many of us out there are doing what we like to do, what we think we like to do, but there's a big part that's missing? And how can we listen to that and allow ourselves to move into it in some sort of harmony? It doesn't have to be this like perfect balance, life work balance. It's just like, what is missing from your life that you can find more joy, and making sure that you can do it, like that's achievable, that we can do.
Yeah. I think of quantity versus quality.
Yeah.
And especially as a financial coach, I see this quantity. I want $5 million. I want this, but typically you've got to work longer hours, and you're going to probably have more stress, and you're going to have to make some sacrifices to get here. And then the quality of your life might start to deteriorate. So, for me, I would have loved to have grown my finances while growing the quality. It didn't quite work out that way, but if I have to prioritize one, the quality always wins. And that's the other thing is, I've put on weight. I don't feel like I've not been taking care of myself the way I want to. And I have greater opportunities when I settle in October. But quality, the quality, it's all about the experiences. It's not about the quantity of crap that I can accumulate.
Yeah. Quality of life too at that. And it goes for anyone at any age. Like, when we're young and at school, it's so important to have so many friends, like this huge bunch and the popular ones. And then you sit in this like, well, I'm not in a good headspace because what's wrong with me? I'm not enough. And then as we get older, and I'm telling my kids it's not about the quality of anything. And like you just said, it's about the quantity, vice versa. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of life and what you're doing with it. So it's a good question to ask yourself. Because, and I say it too much, but death is around the corner. We just never know when we're going to hit that street. And so what can you do to increase the quality of your life? Because there's a time in our lives when money and time sort of shift. We grow up. Yeah, money is really important. Getting all this stuff, la, la, la. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm in the second half or the latter half of my life. Not that we know. And what's really important, what's really, really important, and what do you really, really want? Yeah. The two great questions to ponder on and to question yourself on.
Yeah. So one of the Q words, it can start with a Q. It can start with a C, chi, QI.
QI.
Or CHI, chi, energy, life energy, QI, chi.
Yeah, beautiful.
But that's an interesting concept that, I didn't learn anything about sort of life energy. That's kind of was a woo-woo concept a long time ago. And now I think we understand, and you can physically like measure and see a person's energy fields. So what do you think about chi?
Well, I think it's everything. I just had an in-depth conversation with myself this morning, pondering life, overlooking the water, about energy and boundaries, and how those two have interacted in my own family life. And some people, like, we're not here to be liked by everybody, and different people have different energies, and some of them, rub me the wrong way, and vice versa. Like, we're not for everybody and everybody's not for us in terms of energy. But what I was thinking about this morning was, I like people with high energy, but not but not too high, because it's like, that's too much for me. And people with low energy, they're okay, but if they pull you down, so how can we be okay with our own energy? And this comes back to people pleasing and not allowing ourselves, and empathy as well, not allowing ourselves to be sucked into other people's energy vortexes. And how can we just create our own little bubble of energy and be okay with it, and not let toxic stuff in at all, and really quieten our mind and our mouth when something may trigger us. And again, to question ourselves, why am I being triggered? This goes to a whole new story, which I won't get into, but triggering is a really beautiful flag, a red flag, for you to go inside and question, what the heck is this all about? So
yeah, no, and I've been, I've brought some negative energy to the table in the last few months too, and it's like, I know what I'm doing. I know I shouldn't, and for me, sometimes it's just, I need an alone day. I need an alone 2 days. I need to just be away from everyone and everything. And that starts to help me rebound.
mhm. Yeah,
So sometimes we're fighting our own energy.
a lot of the time. I think all the time. If I could just say that, it's
Yeah.
just like, we can blame others for our experiences and our thoughts, but it's always inside. And it's about sharing stories and experiences like this that really highlight, and I'm talking about you and I now, the essence of friendship, of true friendship, and the bonds that connect souls. So we talk like this regularly. I love it. And I know that you love it. We love it. It's the quintessence of friendship.
Oh, you had to get that. You
I
had
had to get that
one.
one in because it's 1:30.
I know it. I know it. Our time is about over. So what are you working on? How can people connect with you?
Well, just in the Facebook group in the Soul Empowerment and Transformation Lounge, and I'm working on some really great things. So good. My program and a community group that I'm building up. I've got some really good ideas, and I'm just putting it out there. I'm going to be creating something that's going to be super valuable, and I'm going to be going to my group and asking some good questions to get clear on what people want. I've helped people. I've just finished up a few people in my luminosity program, and it's a lot of, I'm not going to say fun, although it is. It's just very quenching. Yeah, that's it. Quenching. My soul feels quenched when I work with women, and so I've got these things that are bubbling up, and it's all about connection. It's all about sharing stories and helping to heal.
All right. Can't
You?
wait. Yeah, thanks. Well, as I texted you yesterday, I was like, damn, I got another idea.
Yeah.
So I try very hard not to create content, and then I create content, but I tell myself I'm not really creating it, but I've done it again. And it really is from this book, Listening Point. And I have dozens and dozens of 1-minute videos of relaxation, different parts of the US. And so I'm realized that Kindle allows me to insert videos in there that I can create a Kindle guide, a Kindle book, insert the videos. And so I can add some story to it. And I've tentatively called it Listening Points, an interactive journey of American landscapes, something like that. So
Yeah.
I'm toying with it, working on building some contacts to get on stage, to get the speaking career going, and excited about all that, but taking a little bit of a detour. The videos are there, and I've been trying to find a way to get that message of finding our own listening points. And this week, it felt like it was coming together and it's all making sense. So, yep. So anyway, see the links for our link trees yeah, in the description. Thank you all for being with us on this quiet Wednesday afternoon.
And if you could just give, 30 seconds of something to wrap it up, what would be?
Let the quiet in. Let the quiet in.
And for me, it would be quit listening to everything and listen to something.
Okay. Wow, heavy. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here, and
Hey,
we're going to close and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
bye bye.